Okay, so I've got a problem, and I think it's a problem a lot of you have. It's this addiction to these great little computers. Why, when you buy one, you got to buy two, and then you got to have three, and then you have four, and it goes on and on and on. What pulls us in to these computers? What is about them that is just so addicting? Well, for one thing, they come in these two pretty cool colors. You've got, of course, your silver and black, which is the more, later. And then you have a very classic black for the G1, G2. These just look really cool. They're made out of metal. I mean, when you pick up one of these, you're not thinking this is a toy. This is an apparatus, a tool that you can really sink your teeth into. So, and they're so small. Look, we've got a box here that you would probably, I don't know what you could even really send off. You can't fit an album in it. You could maybe put some, I don't know, jam, something small. But look, it's still bigger than these guys. I could put two of them together and put it in probably almost this one box. They're so small. And when you've got one, you're like, well, that guy's so small. He needs a friend. Let's get him another one. And so you get a second one. And you go, wow, that was pretty cheap. Maybe we should get a third one. Because, if you're going to do a cluster or something, you need at least three. And then you got three. And you're like, well, but if I'm doing clustering and VMs, what am I going to use for my own personal? Well, of course, I need a fourth one. And then you're like, well, I don't know. Do I get a G3, a G4, G5? What am I going to do with it? But okay, I'll get that. But what if I want to do experimentation? Maybe I need a fifth one, just in case. And the family needs one. I need one, maybe the family. So we'll get one from them and one from me. But it just goes on and on. It's just so hard. And there's just so many other cool things about this. I mean, these units, from being small, they are still very powerful. I mean, you can do, you can have multiple VMs running on them. You can put up to, some people have been putting up to 64 gig of memory in these guys. They support, of course, SATA and M.2. Some people have been putting, 8 gig SATA drives. I mean, I'm sure they're really expensive, but you could also put a normal mechanical drive in there. That's part of it. And when you're working on these, look, all I need to do is I unscrew, I slide it off, I'm inside, okay? I'm there. I just undo a couple screws here. I can get to the CPU. I can get to the memory real easily. It's got expansion. I can put in a different port on the back. I can do serial if I don't want to do VGA. I can, if I wanted to, add a whole second network port. Maybe not to the G2 as easily, although I have seen people cut into the case. But I could on my G3, G4, G5. The power draw compared to other things, they all use the same power supplies for the most part, those 65 watt and the 90 watt, and they're cheap. I mean, yeah, you could start spending a good amount of money, 150, 200 if you wanted to, but you could also start out so inexpensive with these and just add the parts you want, and you're not getting a cheap knockoff. You are getting something that was intended and built for the corporate environment, high-end users, etc. These things are just going to keep going and going. They're tough. and you're getting them for sometimes probably 10 cents on the dollar, sometimes even less. I mean, they're just, they've got huge pallets of these that they're selling. So so you get one and it doesn't work out. It's not like you've invested a huge amount of money in it. Okay, save the stuff and use it for parts. Heck, I've shown on my videos where I get units and right out the bat they're not working. They're so inexpensive that even if you were to get one and something goes wrong, you can literally have a spare or two or three and be able to, pull out that that SATA from one and stick in the other. I do that all the time when I was trying to decide which unit to use. I just, got it working, pulled out the SATA, stuck it in another one, booted right up, and I'm fine. I'm working. They make you feel capable. That's what I like about them. When I'm working on these, I feel like I can actually do something, and I am far from mechanical, electronic, whatever, but I feel like I can pull out this stuff. I can take this down to the bare bone, pull out the motherboard, stick in another board, put it all together, and it still works. That's a feeling of accomplishment when you have something that is built this reliably. The documentation for these guys, the service manuals, all the stuff that HP has out there. They have videos on how to do things on it, all available for the folks out there. And it just makes them so addicting, because then you're like, oh, I got to have a G3, but oh, wait a minute, there's a ProDesk 400, there's a ProDesk 600, there's an EliteDesk 800. Maybe I should get all three, kind of. They're using them for different things. Oh, but then there's a 65 watt and a 90, the 35 watt and a 65 watt models. Maybe I need to go to those two. And of course, you've got a G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, of course, 6, 7. They're up to, I believe the one they're selling now is the G9. So these are products that are going to be around for a while and already have. I mean, most of the stuff that we're using is from probably 2015. That's a good 10 years, and these things are still good. When it comes to electronics, 10 years is a lifetime. I mean, and these are still usable units. I've used, Windows on old ones. Works great. But yeah, you got to be careful. You got to say, you just got to know when you get one, they're social animals. I warn my viewers, they'll want more. They'll want their brothers and sisters to come along. So be careful.